The senior high school policy is perhaps one of the most ambitious political promises in Ghana's Fourth Republic. The NPP government, in its first year, started a policy despite concerns by a number of stakeholders. 424,092 students are reported to have been enrolled in the 2017-2018 academic year under the policy, representing an 11% increment over the previous year. Despite being welcoming news, the increased numbers pose a challenge to the policy.
I have asked for 520 students to be placed in this school, but 819 students were placed. Out of the number, as at 3rd of October, 716 have reported and so have been placed in the school. Close to 196 or 296. So how am I coping with that number? Congestion in the classrooms. I put all of them together. So a class week could take about 40 students. It's now taking about 80, 78, 77.
Resolved to seeing every child in school, the NPP government initiated a double-track system in the 2018-2019 academic year.
For Form 1s, because of their numbers, the anticipated numbers, some schools that we call them oversubscribed schools, or schools that every year a lot of our students will want to attend, those schools will be doing what we call double track.
Groups like Imani Ghana, which oppose the implementation strategy of the free senior high school, question the potential of the double-track system to address the challenges.
This policy, zero analysis backed, poorly thought, and is changing every day. But the last I heard was that somebody from Parliament, I've forgotten the man's name, an honorable MP, who is on the Committee on Education, suggesting that, oh no, it's not every school that will do double-track.
Yes.
I mean, complete disorder.
I was actually coming to that. Yes.
Chaotic.
The government will have none of these criticisms, as it held in high esteem the viability of the system. 400 out of 696 senior high schools were selected to implement the double-track policy. Authorities in schools running the system raised initial concerns.
For the double track, we have teachers for the green track and some teachers for the gold already. So where we have shortage, especially for the gold, we have sent our request through the regional director, and we are expecting that they will come in.
But the government was of the belief that all challenges would be addressed. The system was first rolled out with the second batch of free SHS policy in the 2018-2019 academic year, and continued with the third and fourth batches of the free SHS policy. Many were those who raised concerns over the quality of teaching and learning with the new academic timetables. The government gave the assurances that a 7-year plan to increase infrastructure in all tertiary institutions to ensure a total abolishment of the double-track system was being implemented.
We had to introduce the double-track system as a way of dealing with this major temporary increase in the students. In fact, we are building the infrastructure in schools, and in a few years, the double-track system will be history. But it is important that we start this now because of this 69%. If we hadn't started and brought the double-track system, then many would have been seated home. But whose child should stay home and whose child should go to school?
The story of the free SHS had largely become one of complaints or compliments about the double-track system until COVID-19 disrupted Ghana's academic calendar in the 2019-2020 academic year. The president directed for the closure of all schools in March 2020 and later lifted the ban gradually. But ahead of the 2020 election, the future of the double-track policy took center stage in the educational policies of the two major parties. The NDC vowed to abolish it if it were voted for.
We are going to work to take the double track away. And one of the things that Nana Akufo-Addo should have done was to have continued the community day school concept that we brought in. What he decided to do was to expand the capacity in the existing schools and abandon the e-schools, But when we come, we will fast track the completion of those schools.
The NPP, on the other hand, maintained that they had a clear-cut policy on abolishing the system and ultimately improving senior high school education. After winning the election, the president, in his 21st COVID-19 address, indicated that the double-track system had been abolished for some of the levels, especially first-year students in the 2021 academic year. This was welcoming to a number of stakeholders, especially the Conference of Assisted Senior High Schools, CHAS, who wanted the government to increase infrastructure in these schools to make the directive achievable.
Given that we are in January and it is in March that the students are to come, those challenging areas will be identified and quickly actions will be taken to address them so that come the 10th of January, we will all have enough infrastructure to take in the new students. Every academic year when we are reopening, tables and chairs for the classroom like this are something that we augment what we have already. And we are sure with the reopening for this academic year, those things will be carried out so that schools that will have challenges of shortage of classroom desks will be addressed.
Shortly after the president's directive, the calendar for the 2021 academic year was released.
In almost all these schools, we've built enough to cater for the students so that they don't necessarily have to do double track.
Schools in Ghana are currently in their second terms, but the resumptions of schools for the second term was faced with some challenges. The reopening date for the final year students had to be postponed from March 18 to May 5 as a result of lack of space concerns by CHAS.
The new classrooms that were constructed for us, as a result of the new dormitories, we need furniture and beds to occupy those places to allow the students to use them when they come to school. Statistics have been obtained and we've provided the data to management already. Fortunately for me, I had an encounter with the Minister for Education early part of this week, and I reiterated this issue and said that there was even the need for some funds to be given to schools so that we can do some repairs.
With final year students reporting on Wednesday, May 5, first year Go Track students have been asked to return home after spending less than 2 months in school. Many parents have expressed concerns over the turn of events, following assurances by the president that the double-track system would be abolished for first-year students.